hang on. This game uses online functionalities to handle dialogue. Do not type any sensitive information. Okay, can I full screen this? I cannot full screen this. Okay. I'll just adjust it afterward. Okay, this is Interview with a Whisperer. Sorry. Robin, what would you say to God should you have the chance to speak with him? Nah, too easy. God used to speak to us through burning bushes and hazy visions, but not anymore. They've upgraded their equipment and made contact through a shortwave radio. Could be funny, but I don't know. Maybe a biblical quote? But which one? Maybe this God isn't even the father of Jesus to begin with. Or maybe I just flew for 5 hours and drove for 3 more into the Galician countryside just to meet a senile man who spent too much time listening to the static. Yeah, that's probably going to be it. This is Interview with a Whisperer. It's supposed to be a game about a guy who's built a radio that can talk to God. Doña Remedios. Manuel, this is the journalist who came to see you about your machine. Pay attention and be kind to them. I'm not hungry, Remedios. Excuse him. Yeah, as you can see, Don Manuel has trouble focusing and following conversations, but if you're persistent enough, you'll see this man is full of wisdom. That's all right, Doña. Thank you so much for your hospitality. I'll handle it from here. Very well, I'll leave you two to it. I'll be tending the cows if you need me for anything. Thank you so much. Better behave, you hear me, Manuel? Why don't you tell this person to behave instead, huh? Last one that came by was a joke of a journalist. Good grief. It's all right, Doña. I'll be tactful. I'll come back at noon. Thank you. Give me a minute to review my notes and set up my recorder, and then we'll begin, Don Manuel. Never gone hunting in my life, even if my father was a fine hunter, or so they say. Haha, that's nice. Okay, she was not exaggerating. This might be the trickiest interview I've ever attempted. That was weird. Okay. I'll try to get as much interesting information as I can and call it a day when I find out enough to compose an article. Learn as much as you can from the special radio, how it works, how he made it, etc. Profile Manuel, background, career, and assess his sanity. Dig around as much as you can about the supposed God entity Manuel's contacted. Try to gain access to the machine. Okay. After how much it took to get here, I'm not leaving empty-handed. Let's question Manuel. So I can just say whatever? Hello, Don Manuel. I've never been a religious man. But somehow we could call this divine inspiration. I mean, there's still a lot of magic we don't understand behind human purpose. What drives us to do the things we do? Is there a secret, an explanation to it? Who knows? Now that I think about it, I think I can nail down in time when this hunger for technology started. From 1950 to 1955, there was this woman, Dolores, who came to live in town. I was around my 20s, and I had a predisposition to mess with electronics by that time. But meeting her and her weird prototypes, that's what sparked this lifelong quest in me. Oh, I still miss Dolores so much. Okay. So, tell me more about Dolores. Ah, Dolores, what a woman. It was with her that I realized I'm asexual. She taught me that word, actually. We were speaking and we're talking deep Spain in the 50s here. Decades went by until I heard that word used by somebody else. Besides self-discovery, the greatest gift I got from her was a bunch of manuscripts that described technology that was yet to come. I don't know if she worked for a government or some top company, but she knew about personal computers long before they got here. I devoured those manuals again and again. She usually visited me here and spent whole evenings drinking and talking about possibilities of encoding information and whatnot. Ahead of her time, that woman. She's my biggest inspiration. It was just after she mysteriously vanished from town that I started working on radios. Okay, so what I actually need to do is find the keywords, because Dolores, I think, is the only thing in there that he latched onto. So I think radio. I love this soundtrack too. This tuned-up radio over here allows me to speak with God. It took me a lifetime to nail down the frequency. Well, it'd be wrong to call it a frequency, though. It's a combination of frequencies, actually. All of them, fluctuating, so I had to program several emitters and receivers to stay harmonized. And it still fails from time to time and needs to be recalibrated. Let's say God doesn't like to settle on a wavelength. Okay. So... how did you make it? Oh, sorry, you don't? Okay, so I think he's crazy thing is to try and cover for things that don't necessarily match up with what I asked. It's pretty melodic, unlike any language we know, but meaning is pretty clear to me. You really didn't get any of that? That's weird. When I listen to it, clear phrases and ideas form in my mind. Maybe the emission's only meant to reach the I know the word is interlocution, but interlocutor? Consciousness. If I find out you're a decent character, I may let you try and speak with them directly. Okay, so... let's see. So he told me about his career apropos of nothing. Okay. What did you do for a living? Besides messing with appliances, I dabbled in distilling liquor. They're pretty popular in town, my bottles. Recently I made a batch of coffee liquor that I gotta admit turned out too well. Tell me more about liquor. Distilling liquors has kept me sane for a long time. It's an art so different to messing with appliances. There's less science to it and more alchemy, more magic. You master liquor crafting through sheer experimentation, and it's so fun even when it goes wrong. I'm not a heavy drinker, though, so there's an added pleasure to making liquors. When you come up with a nice batch and share it with your neighbors, a bottle of something nice can always put a smile on the townsfolk. Okay. Okay. Tell me about God. It's not like God had to tell something to me specifically. I'm the one who contacted them, after all. We had conversations about the cosmos and humanity. God's very impressed with how we've evolved and what we've accomplished with science and technology. We totally broke their expectations. God is also really amused with all our interpretations of godhood and what we call religion. God is sincerely surprised that humans caught on to the divine so early, and the fact that there must have been some extraneous force that put on all this in motion. None of us got it quite right, though. Ha ha ha. Okay. Okay. Can I use the machine? I wonder if this is going to make him stop altogether. I don't know. I still don't trust you, no offense. Let's talk for a bit more. Ask me again later and I may reconsider. Okay. He'll only let me use it if he trusts me. Okay. Tell me about surprise. Okay, so this... I think if I keep talking to him, things will go well. My parents were really worried about me. They thought I'd developed some kind of obsession. It took them a long time to understand that this makes my life worth living. But since I was able to make enough money visiting neighbors and fixing their radios and TVs, in the end, they stopped caring. Their only regret is to have died without descendancy, I guess. But what can I say? I didn't come to this world to continue someone's bloodline. Alright. How does the machine work? I'll just give you an overview because I have yet to decide if it's safe to share this technology with the world. God does not have a corporeal form, but from time to time they come to our planet to check on things. So communication isn't always possible, at least not within the shortwave system I've devised. Maybe with proper technology we could even speak to them wherever they go, whenever they leave for outer space. Basically, this is a multi-radio system that emits and receives from over 300 different frequencies that constantly change in a huge variety of sinusoidal patterns. If you nail down God's harmonies, you can emit a message and also receive answers. I'm not ready to disclose how these sinusoidal patterns work, though. Okay. So how does it work? How does it work? How did you make it? I feel like he already answered this, though. Okay, he's back to the language. Let me see. How did you make the machine, maybe? How did you build the radio? I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you repeat it? How did you build the radio? That's a tricky question. I'm a radio aficionado myself, so I typed the same thing twice, so it's not like maybe it is a communication error, I don't know. I'm a radio aficionado myself, and I was trying to come up with ways to encrypt my communications so the government wouldn't pick up on my conversations. As I started working on this polymorphic multi-layered transmission system, I found out that somebody was already working on a system similar to mine. So I decided to try and match this weird sinusoidal gibberish on the airwaves. And it happened to be God. Wasn't even looking for him. We could try and write this off as a miracle if you may, but maybe it was God who inspired me to work on this to begin with. I discovered God isn't as omnipotent as many cultures paint them, but they still have their ways. Okay. Tell me about encryption. It's a bit of a technological miracle, juggling transmissions to harmonize into God's wavelength. Okay. Tell me about government. Okay, I've never been a man of faith, agnostic of anything, so making contact with God at first blew my mind. But a few weeks in, and I feel weird saying this, I expected more from God. They don't feel as omnipotent as every culture describes them. I don't know if anything, I feel compassion for them? Where does God go? Right now? I don't know, probably around, but they're not always here. They told me they roam the cosmos, so they inhabit a limited amount of space or energy. I don't know how big they are or how fast they travel, though. Do you trust me? What a weird thing to ask, don't you think? Let's just keep talking and I'll be the judge of that. Okay, cool. Tell me about religion. The thing that shocked me the most about God's true nature is the role they played in the creation of humankind. It clashes against every myth about the creation of our world. Earth, this planet, already existed before God visited it. They only terraformed it. It's no small feat, don't get me wrong, it's just that knowing all this wasn't some grand design, God just kind of kickstarted life as we know it, but couldn't possibly predict what's become of it. Okay, God terraformed Earth. Should I dig deeper into this? Tell me about Earth. Do you dig poetry? I'm not a great writer myself, but Dolores liked poetry a lot, so as a way to feel closer to her, I tried my hand at writing some. This one I wrote about 2 decades ago. Fleeting feeling of numbness, bare wires against an old man's skin. Fleeting sensation of love, rust, breath, oblivion, nil. Manuel digs poetry! Tell me about poetry. Oh, I love poetry. Here's a recent one. Mysterious life form, grand instigator of life. We all from terraformation arise. Forbidden supercontinent, apple to oblivious atom. Sci-fi poetry, huh? Is that popular on the internet? Haha. Tell me about Adam. He's thinking on that one. I didn't quite catch that. I'm sorry, could you repeat that? Tell me about Adam. Oh, I'm nothing special, really. I was born in this house and will most definitely die in it. I worked the land until I was 14 years old and joined the town's blacksmith as an apprentice, when I specialized in electronics, but not like the fancy ones they teach at university. Household electronics, fixing TVs, and setting up antennas for the neighbors. Read a couple of books on the matter, but I'm mostly self-taught. My family tried to set me up with several women, but I've never been interested in marrying or even having sex. They tried to make me join the church, but I've never been a fan of Catholicism. In the end, they gave up and let me pursue my calling, to mess with machines and devices. Okay, so Adam didn't get me anywhere. So I'm kind of feeling around, like I'm trying to figure out what exactly it wants from me. Okay, tell me about terraforming. That must be the most groundbreaking discovery I got out of our conversations. God didn't create the universe, but they sure did create life on Earth. God has terraforming powers or capabilities? They pick up a barren rock in the middle of the universe and generate an ecosystem in it by stimulating it electrochemically. They told me the process takes about 1 million years, then they oversee the early stages of the development of the species, and then when they're satisfied, he just leaves and lets nature run its course. Did you know this land where we started and finished the process? Galicia is a bit of land, in which God first breathed life into when the Earth was just a supercontinent. In fact, God forbid me to speak that name of the supercontinent in front of the machine. Said it may trigger some unpredictable developments. God forbid Manuel say the name of the original supercontinent. Why? Should I try to say it? I mean, is it Pangea?
This bitch don't know about Pangea.
Okay, you mean Pangea? What? Earth Control Unit 7.2 entering maintenance mode. Error. Cannot access maintenance logs. Warning. 7844Q, BioBrain processor deteriorated. Editing access. Journalist trust gauge equals true. Print journalist trust level. Current trust level 32. Ask more personal questions to increase. Please contact God entity and request retrieval. Returning to human handler state machine. What? Oh, I didn't make any notes about that? Me about yourself. I'm the town's electrical loony, if you want to sum it up. Tell me about electrical loony. Do you have any recurrent dreams? Myself, I have some weird ones. But more than a recurrent dream, I'd say it's more like a recurrent setting, and I keep visiting it in my dreams, a place that feels out of this world. But I guess you didn't come up here to hear me rambling about my night trips. Oh, I did. Please, do go on. Tell me about your dreams. I often dream with a facility with a view to a white rocky landscape. Dreams are never the same, but they have recurring characters. There's this doctor with a white lab coat named Fidel Medeiros, who asks me a lot of technical questions that for some reason I'm able to answer. Although the memories of those conversations are always fuzzy. The doctor reminds me of my father for some reason. Sometimes Dolores is around with an elegant office suit. Whenever I find her in a dream, we often end up having a glass of wine at some sort of observatory. Also, no matter how hard I try, I never manage to leave a facility. The times I tried, I happened to sleepwalk and awake in the middle of the forest, and that can be pretty dangerous given my old age, so at some point I stopped trying. So... was he a robot built to talk to God? Or is he from God? It's hard to say. Okay, so the old man has recurrent dreams set in some sort of facility. There's some doctor named Fidel Medeiros. So, do I need to talk about... oh shit, now I can't remember what her name was. It wasn't reciprocation or something. It was, tell me about Dunya. I don't know if this is gonna work. Because I didn't... Oh, I wonder why I keep dreaming about that doctor. Okay. Tell me about Fidel Medeiros. Dr. Fidel Medeiros. I don't know if I ever saw him on TV or what, but for some reason he got stuck in my dreams. It's like we're working together on something, on a project named Second Installment. I feel like he respects me, and he has a lot of questions that I'm able to answer eloquently, and that fills me with pride. His face is pretty familiar to me. It feels like my dad, but not exactly him. We get along really well, like he knows what's going through my head. I mean, besides that, his presence is a mystery to me. Okay. Tell me about Second Installment. That project I keep dreaming about, Second Installment. I can't put my finger on what it's about since I never remember exactly what my role is, but I seem to be pretty knowledgeable about everything surrounding it. Dr. Medeiros always comes to me to consult me on my technical details. If I really force my brain, I can grasp some keywords instinctively, like parametric environment and character translocation and safe word vulnerability. All gibberish to me. I tried to look it up, actually, found nothing relevant. Okay. So... if he can't, I think he can't bring the subjects to his forefront on his own. So if I ask him about it, I might be able to get it. Tell me about parametric environment. Parents. That's what I meant. My parents never really approved of this lifestyle. They died a couple of decades ago anyway. So. Safe word vulnerability, obviously, is Pangea, so tell me about Okay, I misspelled that. So character translocation should just mean rearranging letters, right? Okay, one thing I regret is not to have visited other countries, and then tell me about safe word vulnerability. A terraforming alien energy life form. Who would have guessed, huh? Haha. Okay. Okay, it seems like a dead end. Let's see. Let me see. Tell me about your father. Family, huh? The only family I have left is Remedios. Remedios! I'm an only son, and something I'm sure my parents regretted at some point. My father was pretty strict, nor was he a really smart person. Simple and obstinate. He only ever cared about hunting and making sure I lived by the proper values, whatever that means. My mother was cold and distant, never really knew how to express love, not to me or my father. But I know she cared that we were all healthy and fine in our own way. I don't really miss him if you ask me. Manuel's father was dumb and his mother was cold. Pretty picture. Tell me about Remedios. She's a distant cousin of mine. I owe her a lot. When my parents were gone, she started making sure I was alright. She lives in a farm nearby and brings me food and puts a bit of order in this house since the old bones don't allow me to do most of the chores. Never questioned my obsessions, but she does treat me a bit like a child even if I'm more than a decade older than her. Can't complain though. If she wasn't around, I'd just starve in a pile of trash. Okay. Tell me about your mother. I don't want to speak anymore about my family, sorry. Okay. Pangea. Maintenance mode. Current trust level 100%. Returning to human handler state machine. That was a lot easier than I thought. So, do you trust me? Okay. Can I use the machine? Alright, you look like a decent person. Let me power up the machine. That was easier than I expected. I guess I should have been checking more often. Okay, so she's typing something on her phone. Oh! Oh, there are oh, what the fuck? Salutations, human entity! Manuel finally let someone else communicate with us. Before we start a conversation, we need to know. What do you feel about God? You're a terraforming energy mass. I see! It's interesting to witness what your own cultures push your minds through. No, this is directly from the man himself. To think about what originated life as you know it in such a way, and speaking about existing in this time and age as a human entity. What do you enjoy the most about the human experience? Food? Interesting. We wish we could be contained into a human entity's brain processor to be brain processor. To be able to experience such things. In a way, you're privileged. As a means to improve your experience as a human entity, we're going to offer you a gift. In just one word, only one word, what would you like us to remove from reality? Just name it. Choose one word and we shall remove it from your world. What would you like us to remove from reality? Ooh, this is interesting. Because there's probably a very limited number of things I can actually ask it for. And my brain is fixated on asking it to remove Manuel. But I don't think it'll work. Interesting choice. And with that, you would be happier? I thought so. Overriding access to Earthcom's Unit 18.4.1, entering maintenance road. Blocking perception of reality, Manuel. Parameter deleted from database. Resetting encounter, reconfiguring world narrative coherence factor. Returning to human handler state machine. Manuel Fatera presents an advanced state of dementia. The incredible machine he claims he's made is but a very elaborate and innovative Christmas tree, just old appliances stuck together forming an amusing display of lights. I'd recommend not following up on the story to avoid bringing uncomfortable attention to a senile old man. Remember to buy some pimentos de padron for Emmerich. And Manuel wants to know what just happened. Oh, don't worry about it, Mr. Fatera. I have more than enough for my article. Let's see if my editors have a spot in the next issue for your story. Please, take care. You're not even staying for lunch? Sorry, I gotta run if I want to make it in time to the airport. Okay. Oh, man. That's so good. I'm genuinely impressed by that. I wish they had prepared for the eventualities of me asking to remove Manuel. Like, it makes total sense that it would just be blocked from my perception filter. That's some Black Mirror shit. But... like, my options were either going to be Manuel or God, but it doesn't seem like either one of them would work. Damn. But that was a really cool experience while it lasted. And the soundtrack is, again, just wonderful. But that was an interview with a Whisperer. Until the next video, stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you around. Bye.